Hello and welcome to Cricket 360 on what could be a very, very critical day for the test match, for the series. As we discussed last evening, uh, the series is obviously very, very interestingly poised. India probably slightly ahead with that 70-run lead. I once again have the pleasure of hosting Joydeep Mukherjee, a very celebrated cricketer, administrator and commentator. Welcome, Joydeep, and would be great to get your perspective on what can we look forward to today as fans of test cricket. I think you're on mute.
Sorry, is that better?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
all good.
thank you, Prantik. Yeah, it's a absolutely riveting day. And like you said yesterday, it's just day three. It almost seems like it's day four or day five. There's so much that can happen. There's so much that can unfold to today, which is unbelievable. Yeah, I think it's still going to be tough for India. Just going by what we saw yesterday, the ball is still rock hard. It will be fresh. It was under covers. There will be a little bit of moisture. So there will be a little bit more seam movement that when we saw yesterday. So along with the bounce and the new ball movement will also come in the factors of just a morning condition. So it will not be easy. Worry for me is that the next batter is not in the greatest of form. The batter after that is not somebody who can, he can come and blow the opponent away, but can also fall flat on your face. That's just the way he plays. So which side is going to come up? And then our five bowler issue, which is something that I am not entirely convinced that in such conditions, I think four bowlers are good enough. In flat
Right.
conditions in India or anywhere where the conditions in favor of the batting, then you don't need that extra batter. But I think in these conditions, you don't need the extra bowler. But that's another debate for another day.
No, and let's touch upon that in a minute, and because that's a critical point you mentioned. But in terms of the two current the batsmen who are on the crease, obviously Kohli and Pujara, the intent looks very clear. We spoke about how Kohli is leaving the balls that are on good length. I mean, you always, every day, you've mentioned the importance of the first hour. Would you say that even today, just it's best to kind of the first hour, if you have your 14, 15 odd overs, you would, what's the sort of run rate would you want these Indian batsmen to score at? Because obviously, time is not critical. We have enough time. Would you say 2.5, 3 runs and over is fine just to see through the difficult phase?
I say run rate is something that you shouldn't even worry about. With 3 days left in the game, all you got to worry about is not giving a wicket. I don't even mind in the next 1 hour, even if not even one run is scored. Yeah, you can say
Right.
that the bowler you get the bowler on top, but the length that they've bowled, it's not easy to score runs. So scoring runs will happen on its own because they're trying to get you out. So there's three slips, a gully, and a short leg. So there's 3, 4, 5 fielders gone. That just leaves four fielders outside. There's a point, cover, a mid on, and a fine leg. So there are enough gaps. So if you stay for an hour or hour and a half, runs will trickle in. Depends
Right.
on the discipline of the bowling, whether it'll be two or three or four, depending on how patient they are. If they're patient, that could be two. If they get impatient, that could be three. If they get really impatient and try things, that could be four. It also
You're
depends
right.
on
And
how, yeah. It also depends on
so
Virat, what sort of mood he'll be in, whether he wants to
right.
be aggressive. Pujara was a trifle aggressive. I don't think we're going to see that today.
And that's an interesting point to bring because in the recent past, the last test match, the second innings, and even Pujara in this innings, it's interesting that Kohli seems to be the one who is more patient, leaving balls, and Pujara is trying to nudge here and there, drive, he's scoring. And to your point, many batting units typically
Prantik,
say,
that
okay,
is
you know what?
happening. Yeah, that is happening because they are bowling a more defensive length to
Right.
Virat. They're not trying to get him out, but they're trying to get Pujara out. See, how you play, the game starts with the ball. It's the bowler who starts the cricket.
Right.
He's the one who decides what the batter is going to do. I know the batter is going to react to the ball, but
Yeah.
how, if it's a bouncer, then the batsman can't play forward. So if a batsman thinks I'm going to play forward to this ball, I can't because it's the ball, it's the bowler who decides what the mode of reply will be.
Right. That's a very, very
Okay.
beautiful
Yeah. So if
philosophical
I think
point that you are
I'm going to leave
reacting.
the first ball, yeah. If I decide I'm going to leave the first ball, I can't. If it's bang on middle stump, I can't. It's what has been dished out to me. So I think what's been dished out to Virat and what has been dished out to Pujara are two different things, depending on the class of the play and depending on the form of the play, both together. Yeah.
And as a batting unit, so I love this point that you make that, it's the bowler who's kind of kick-starting the process and the batsman is reacting. Now, many batsmen, many batting units also feel that whilst that may be the case, can we dictate terms and push the bowler? But I suppose what I'm hearing from you that your suggestion would be that again in the first 1 or 2 hours, it's fine. React, be a bit more defensive, but not. I mean, not defensive about just I suppose being a bit more circumspect and
Yeah,
cautious
that's the
rather
word.
than trying to
Circumspect.
right.
Circumspect. You've taken the words out of my mouth. That's what it is. Whatever is being dished out to you, you react to that. If they're trying to get you out, if you feel there are a couple of freebies, if their discipline is not really good, which I'll be surprised if it's not, because in this series the discipline has been superb. If they can keep
That's
Virat
right.
Kohli quiet, they can keep anybody quiet. But it's what plan they have in mind. They might want to, might they don't mind Virat Kohli leaving 4 balls and over, but they might want Pujara to hit 4 balls out of 6 with bat, because when you
Right.
hit with bat, that's your chance of getting out or more. Which balls do you hit with your bat? The ones that are hitting the stumps. So they could be bowling at a
That's right.
slightly fuller length to Virat to Pujara than they are
Pujara.
to Virat. You're playing the patient game with Virat, playing with his patience. See where that takes them. So they'll have different plans for all the players. Again, with Rahane, they'll be absolutely smack on him because they know they'll be in his ear. Is this the last
Yeah.
time? Is this it? Are you on your way out? Thank you for your services. All this will come in from slips and gully. So how he handles that. Then when Rishabh Pant comes, the cowboy is here. What are you going to do? Are you going to play that knock again? This is the big ones. They'll be on your ear. We've been through all that. How you react is what matters.
And tell me, I mean, this is a very interesting topic that as a coach, as an administrator, as someone who's played so long, like when you see youngsters, and I can imagine, a Pant who's so young, there's probably, hot blood flowing through. What do you tell them? I mean, because obviously the heat of the moment, everyone could get pissed off. Everyone could just, start reacting to such statements. Like, is this something, yesterday you spoke about how the no ball problem can be solved. Is this something that's solvable, or by the time the kids come up to 20s, it's in you? You are hot-headed, or you are, you have a calm demeanor.
No, I think you face a lot of it in first class cricket as well. So you have a taste of it. It's not only in international cricket. In fact, it's much worse in first class cricket. Uh, uh, because in international cricket, with the umpires, with the stump microphone, there's a lot you can't say. There's none of that is there in domestic cricket, and I've been said some things which I just cannot say on air. I can't even say off air. They're that bad.
Wow.
Uh,
And
and and
what was the
and
typical mode of
and
response? Did you just keep quiet, or did you find a way to
no,
give back?
my while I was batting, I didn't. But my captain Arun Lal told me that when your turn to field and his turn comes to bat, you give it to him exactly the way you want to. And he stood by us, just not me, a couple of us juniors playing a Dilip Trophy game, making our debuts. So, and we were playing North Zone, which had, I think, out of the 15, I think Bhaskar Pillai was the only guy who wasn't an India player
Right.
at the
Wow.
time. So number 12
Unbelievable.
was Gursharan Singh, India. Number 13 was Madanlal, India. Number 14 was somebody else, India. So 12, 13, 14, 15 were India players. And in that game, a couple of the senior players who played for India, uh, you know, uh, not the icons, but people who had played for
Sure.
India, came IB Roy and me, both of us batting together, a mouthful. We had a bit of a partnership, and they knew that we were young. We had just 1 year of first class cricket behind us. They could get behind us. It could hurt us. Ultimately, we kept our cool, but it also we learned something that day. And I have never ever sledged anybody. I've never hit below the belt. I've sledged
Right.
people, but I've never hit below the belt. It's always been a smile, a banter. If somebody's been out of form, okay, so this is it. Okay, oh my God, if you fail now, you got to go and again get 1,000 runs and stand behind 40 people to make the beat. All that is fine. I don't mind hearing that. But hitting below the
Right.
belt is something that I've always refrained from. And I think these players, these punts and all, they faced a lot of it in first class cricket. And as I was saying, that in international cricket, you expect, it that it's going to happen. And when you're playing international cricket, there's after a while there's a bit of calmness in you. You can see that in the even somebody as as for lack of a better word, like Virat, when he first came, he would react to everything. But there's a certain
Yeah.
calmness about him. You see him smiling right now, even if somebody tells him something. Yeah, it does get hot sometimes. Sometimes you can see him, especially in Australia and England. He was
Yeah.
walking back with the bowler, with Broad, with Anderson, going back in the dressing room. It does. But as long as you create a balance, it's good. But it should not affect your batting or your bowling. If your prime skill is batting, it should not affect you. Rishabh Pant got out in that last Test second innings because short leg was constantly on his ear. Come on, you're the big, and it got to him.
Of
If that
course.
ball had gone for 4 or 6, then we said he's handled it.
Right.
So
No,
if the if that
exactly.
shot
I kind of
if that shot was coming anyway, it's okay. But that shot shouldn't be coming because he has spoken. That's my point.
right. And I guess, I suppose, you also have people like Yuvraj Singh. I mean, the classic six sixes. I mean, some could
Yeah,
say that, Mr. Flintoff probably pissed him off to the extent that that brought out. And I guess the point is, again, some people may use that as channel that energy in a different way, and it clicks on the day. But you're
yeah,
right. I think by and far, I mean, if it's purely, I mean, I suppose the whole point is how can you control your game, your mind. If
yeah,
it's purely
yeah.
reactionary, then I suppose you're kind of losing control. And any fielder or any slip fielder, gully, or even the captain on the other side will try and capitalize on that. And
Yeah, there's some
let's
masters that Arunlal was a master at, he would be smiling and he'd even irritate them even more. He'll take off his pads, he's wasting time, he'll go and talk to the umpire. So he's talking about my mother, my mother went to this school and she would be, and then they're saying, okay, we're sorry we spoke, please can you get on with it because we're
please.
getting late. Yeah, so he's gone to a different level. He's the master.
But I can imagine your plight when you said that. I mean, if you're a young cricketer at Dulip Trophy and you're playing with some legends, you're probably already awestruck the fact that you're playing, and you're probably
I'm
and
not
then you
gonna
see them sledge.
I'm not going to name the guy, but I'll just tell you the team: Raman Lamba, Navjot Singh Sidhu, Mohinder Ramannath, Ajay Sharma, Kapil Dev, Maninder Singh, Sanjeev Sharma, Kirti Azad, Chetan Sharma. So I'm not going to name the guy, but you can imagine
Sure,
one
one
of
of
these nine
these
or 10
legends.
or two, Manoj Prabhakar. So, these are guys who played for
Oh
India
my
with
goodness.
repute. All of them
Yes.
have played with India with repute. I mean, Kirti Azad is a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
You know, so all these guys, and
Phenomenal.
when you see them for the first time in front, and then they're at your mother and father, is, oh my God, you grew
Was this
you
after
grow
the
up
world
really
after the
quickly.
world? Was this after the World Cup?
Yeah, it was in 1987 because I made my debut in
Right.
87. It was the 87
87.
winter. Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I mean, I'm sure these could make for fascinating tales. I mean, a young cricketer comes up, is awestruck playing with legends, and then if one of I don't even know whether one should feel proud that wow, a legend actually sledged at me. I don't know how to react to that. But coming
But the
back to
only thing I
Cape
must
Town,
say here is that Kapil Dev said, "Bachcho ko chhod do, bachcho ko chhod do." He was the only one who was trying to keep some peace, because he heard it. He was in the slips. He heard it, and he thought that for a young guy or anybody, you shouldn't be sledging like this. So he said, "Yeah,
right?
bachcho ko chhod do." But not too many people listen to Kapil Dev in the North
Not,
Zone team.
but good to hear. Yeah, I mean, I think again, don't want to get too parochial about it, but generally, I've heard that
Yeah,
the teams
yeah,
from North Zones have been quite difficult.
yeah.
Just their nature or just their way of the game is
No, it
different.
was
But
one thing. It was very evident. North means they'll be at you. West won't even look at you. You don't exist
look
for
at
them.
you.
South are really nice guys, and Central are a lot like the East. We are one of us. South, as big a star, Gundaba Vishwanath, Azharuddin, they'll come and say hello, how are you, and all that, or whoever. But West won't even look at you. You don't exist for them. Hello, where's this noise coming from? Oh my God. Okay, we are here. Okay, it's like that.
Right. What about East? I mean, obviously, all of us come from the East here on this show, but would you say that we're generally a gentlemanly in our approach?
Always been, because I played in
Okay.
an era when Arun Lal was the
Yeah.
captain. He was the player playing for India. He was the man. And then Ashok Malhotra came. So these are two
Yeah.
India players in the team. Been there. Both guys from the north also.
Not.
That's
Yeah.
a big one. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
know the north culture. They've played all their cricket up north, and they taught us how to go about it. So we had some great examples. Arun Lal and Ashok Malhotra taught us a lot about how to go about it. Give it back, and they never asked us to take a step back. They always said, "Give it back where it hurts," which we did. So some of these names, we gave it back to them. You can imagine, so both of us playing our sixth or seventh first-class game, giving it to people who played 50 games for India. But Arun Lal said, "Give it back," so that guy doesn't give it back to you the next time we play, and his play worked.
Fair enough. I mean, you've at least got to defend, if not, if you're not provoke,
Yeah,
at least
yeah,
defend yourself.
yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And coming back to Cape Town, I mean, do you reckon that the game could be over by tomorrow first session, or you think even today there's a chance that just the way the pitch is being playing out, it could be that
Yeah.
by the time we do the show later tonight, that's possible, isn't it?
Possible. See,
Very
if they
possible.
get inroads early, if we lose 2 in the next half an hour, 3 in the next 1 hour, this could be over today. Either way, I'm not saying India's going to lose. India can come and
Sure.
blow them up for 71. You never know. But this pitch has enough venom, enough spice in it for it to finish. And it hasn't died down. The only
Right.
advantage they have over us is with their bounce because of their height. And that's something we can't do anything about. We'll have to make up for it in some other way with our skills.
And talking about, batting and I mean, there are some batting units who look at targeting, that, okay, let's see off Rabada and Ngidi, but let's target someone. But the current attack, I mean, I'm quite pleasantly surprised that Marco is having the impact that he's, and you have always mentioned about the height and the bounce. Is there anyone from the current form that you have seen in this test, if Pujara, Rahane, Kohli and the rest, should they be looking at targeting a particular bowler? I'm presuming Maharaj isn't going to bowl too much. So from the others, should they just play the ball in the merit, or should they plan that, hey, let's attack this particular bowler?
The whole Indian team is praying that Maharaj comes and bowls 10 overs. That'll be but that's not going to happen. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think it's going to be Marco, because Marco is the one who's inexperienced. But the role they've given Marco is back over length. They have not told him to attack the stumps. He's going one ball every 7-8 balls full, and he's going back over length. So his job is to keep things quiet. If the batsman does something silly, and Ngidi and Rabada are the two attacking. That ploy is evident. So Marco right now, if you get after him, the length he's bowling, you can't get after him. Not on this deck. So they've suited him very
all
nicely.
in all,
they've told him, they're saying that you can't join the dots and put 50 out of 60 balls in one place. So you take this other option. You come to the defensive option. And let the two senior bowlers, the ones who are more accurate than you, who are more ready for such a situation, attack. It's a very good ploy. 3 of them together is a very good ploy.
And how do you rate an Olivier compared to Marco? In the current form, is he someone that India can kind of go after? Is he bowling a bit fuller than you would like? What's your take on Olivier?
Yeah, he's bowling fuller because he's getting a lot of seam movement. See, whenever you bowl full and you get seam movement, then it is a totally different ball game altogether. See, Marco, when he's going over the wicket, he's angling it in. When it's around the wicket, he's angling it out. When he's going around the wicket, it's coming into the batter. He doesn't have that ability after falling to go in and out. Even the ball KL Rahul got out, it was actually just held its line. It didn't swing. But what Oliver is doing is that he has the ability to go and move it off the seam. So when you do that, then your length gets closer to the batsman, because you don't want the batsman to get too much time to see what's happening after pitching. You don't want to be too full, because you want to give it a little bit of space for it to seam, and you don't want to be too short, because you don't want to get the batter too much time to see what it's doing. So in between those two lengths is where it stays, and it takes it and goes away.
Fascinating. Well, we're just about 10 odd minutes away from the game. Fascinating conversation. I'll never forget the North Zone, East Zone story. And I'm promised to our audience that I'm going to dig further next time and become about a lot more stories about these, especially what happens in the domestic game at the club level. We would want to learn more about, what's happening in West Bengal cricket. Of course, unfortunate that the Ranji Trophy is still kind of put on hold, but we would want to kind of get to specific talents, specific approaches that the young kids across formats are taking. But that's it for now. Hopefully it's going to be a fascinating day of cricket once again. The year has begun on some note when it comes to Test cricket. We've seen Bangladesh have, they've enjoyed a heroic win. They've had a bad defeat. Australia, England, it went on to the last ball. This, obviously will not go to the last ball of the 5th day, but very likely either today or tomorrow we might see a result. And it's going to get close, I suppose, just the way the India-South Africa games have happened. Every session counts. And I think Joydeep had mentioned this previously, that it really depends on who takes control, who reacts well, and who kind of ensures that we don't lose our nerves. So hopefully, from a Team India perspective, I'm just hoping that the first hour or the first session, we just don't lose more than 1 wicket. But we'll see. Thank you so much, Joydeep. See you later in the evening once again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Look forward.
Hello and welcome to day 3 of this deciding test match here at Newlands. It's another bright sunny day and what you would normally call a batting day. But yesterday was the same, and look what happened. 11 wickets fell. Not going to be easy for the bowlers either in this heat, you would think. There is just a little bit of a breeze blowing across the ground. But remember, this pitch is also eased up a little. It's been rolled plenty of times, not just for the number of days been played, but also the innings that have changed. Virat Kohli and Cheteshwar Pujara will begin things for India, and if they can see through the first session, you would think India would be well ahead in this test match. South Africa's bowlers, though, will know that this Indian team, in the recent past especially, has a tendency to collapse. If they can get among the wickets early, they will know that they can restrict India to a total that can be chased. Immediate history at the Wanderers shows that South Africa can chase 240, but historically, that's not easy to do. And this pitch will still continue to offer something for the fast bowlers. You have to think that at some stage, with the sun baking down, the spinners will come into the equation as well. Once again, evenly poised between the two teams. The one that wins the big moments, you think, will take this game and make history.